Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today I will tell you how to approach a case of cervical cancer, how to take a history, doing examination, conduct investigation, and then manage the patient. Please watch this video till the end because it's a complete package on how to approach a cervical cancer station in exams. I have prepared it with a lot of effort to make your exam preparation easier. If you find it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share the video. Also, let me know in the comment sections which topic you would like me to cover next. Here you can see cervix cancer mnemonic for history taking. Starting with the chief complaint, ask what brought her to hospital, postcoital bleeding, intermenstrual bleeding, postmenopausal bleeding, persistent foul-smelling vaginal discharge, pelvic pain, dyspareunia, backache, leg swelling, urinary or bowel symptoms. Presenting complaint details, bleeding history, ask duration of bleeding, onset, sudden or gradual, pattern, postcoital or intermenstrual, irregular, postmenopausal bleeding. Then ask amount, spotting, mild, moderate or heavy. Then frequency, every intercourse or occasional. Then ask about clots present or absent. Then associated pain. Any bleeding after pelvic examination effects on daily life, symptoms of anemia, weakness, dizziness, palpitation, shortness of breath. If complaint is vaginal discharge, ask duration, amount, color, watery, yellow, brown, blood stained. Then ask about smell, offensive or foul smelling, associated itching or burning, pus-like discharge, relation with intercourse or periods. Regarding menstrual and menopausal history, ask age at menarche, LMP, cycle regularity, duration and flow of cycle, dysmenorrhea, intermenstrual bleeding, age at menopause if postmenopausal, duration since menopause, any bleeding after menopause. In obstetric history, ask about gravida, para, abortions, living children, age at first pregnancy, mode of deliveries, home or hospital deliveries, any difficult labor or cervical trauma, history of repeated pregnancy, lost child, any postpartum complication. Sexual history and HPV risk. Ask respectfully age at first intercourse, married or unmarried, duration of marriage, number of sexual partners, husbands, multiple partners, history of sexually transmitted infections, genital warts, unprotected intercourse, condom use, dyspareunia, postcoital bleeding, then HPV vaccination status. Contraceptive history. Ask current contraception, past contraception, long-term COCP use, IUCD use, barrier method, any postcoital bleeding after IUCD insertion. Then ask risk factors for cervical cancer. Ask specifically smoking, early marriage or early sexual activity, multiple sexual partners, husband with multiple partners, high parity, low socioeconomic status, poor genital hygiene, immunosuppression, HIV infection, long-term steroid use, previous abnormal pap smear, previous sin, previous HPV infection, family history of genital tract cancers. Symptoms suggesting malignancy: ask weight loss, loss of appetite, fatigue, fever, night sweats, persistent pelvic pain, offensive discharge, bleeding increasing over time. Symptoms suggesting local spread: bladder involvement, ask frequency, urgency, dysuria, hematuria, urinary retention, continuous leakage of urine, rectal involvement, ask constipation, rectal bleeding, painful defecation, tenesmus, passage of stool through vagina, ureteric renal involvement. Ask flank pain, reduced urine output, recurrent UTI, swelling of body, symptoms of renal failure, pelvic wall nerve involvement, ask severe backache, sciatic leg pain, leg swelling, difficulty walking. Symptoms suggesting distant spread: ask cough, hemoptysis, chest pain, breathlessness. Then ask jaundice, right upper abdominal pain, then bone pain, headache, seizures, neurological symptoms, then generalized body swelling. Ask past gynecological history, ask previous pap smear and result, HPV test, colposcopy history, cervical biopsy history, treatment for CIN, LEEP, LEDS, cone biopsy, cryotherapy, previous cervical erosion, polyp, PID, vaginitis, previous gynecological surgery. Past medical and surgical history: ask diabetes, hypertension, tuberculosis, HIV or other immunosuppressive disease, chronic kidney disease, bleeding disorders, any previous cancer, previous abdominal or pelvic surgery, drug history, especially steroids, anticoagulants, and tamoxifen. Family history: ask cervical cancer, endometrial cancer, ovarian cancer, breast cancer, colorectal cancer, bleeding disorder, tuberculosis in family. Personal and social history: ask smoking, alcohol or drug use, occupation, socioeconomic status, personal hygiene, access to screening, support at home, marital status, nutritional status, marital relationship with the partner. Ask about any investigation that already done: pap smear, HPV DNA test, colposcopy, cervical biopsy, MRI pelvis, CT scan, ultrasound, chest X-ray, CBC, RFTs, LFTs, HIV, hepatitis B, C status, and any treatment already taken. Finally, this is the mnemonic you can use for history taking: cervix cancer, C, chief complaint, E, episodes of bleeding, R, reproductive history, V, vaginal discharge, I, intercourse history, X, exposure risk, C, contraception, and cervical screen, A, associated malignancy. And neighboring organs: C, cancer spread, E, earlier treatment, R, risk factors, and family history. Now I will tell you how to do examination. We'll decide FIGO stage from examination findings. Start with the general physical examination and say, after obtaining consent, ensuring privacy and adequate exposure, I will perform a general physical examination. I will check general appearance of the patient, look for sick looking, cachexia, weight loss, emaciation, dehydration, distress due to pain, suggesting advanced malignancy. Check vital signs, record pulse, blood pressure, respiratory rate, temperature, oxygen saturation. Then calculate BMI. From BMI, you can assess whether patient is obese, underweight, or she developed cachexia due to underlying malignancy. Look for pallor, suggests chronic blood loss, iron deficiency, anemia. Then look icterus, may suggest liver metastasis or hepatic disease. Then check cyanosis, if respiratory compromise. Clubbing, rare but may indicate chronic illness. Check pedal edema, could suggest pelvic lymphatic obstruction, venous obstruction, and renal disease. Then check lymph nodes. Palpate cervical, supraclavicular, axillary, inguinal, and findings are enlarged, hard, fixed, non-tender. Positive nodes suggest metastatic disease. Do breast examination if indicated, particularly if differential includes metastatic disease or synchronous malignancy. Then thyroid examination to exclude associated endocrine disorder. Now perform systemic examination. Per abdominal examination, inspect distension, scars, hernia, dilated veins, visible masses. Then palpate for tenderness, especially right upper quadrant, that will suggest liver metastasis. Liver, assess size, surface, consistency, tenderness. Spleen, assess enlargement. Kidneys, flank tenderness, renal involvement, hydronephrosis. Then check pelvic mass. Look for uterine enlargement, adnexal mass, percussion. Look for ascites, suggest advanced malignancy. Auscultation, usually normal in this case. Perform respiratory examination. If metastatic disease suspected, look for pleural effusion, reduced air entry, lung metastasis. Cardiovascular examination, especially before surgery, and CNS examination only if neurological symptoms are present. Perform local examination. Always say, I will examine the patient in lithotomy position under good light after taking informed consent. External genitalia, inspect vulva, labia, perineum. Look for warts, ulcers, growth, discharge, and bleeding. Then do speculum examination, assess vaginal discharge, describe color, amount, smell, blood stained, purulent. Then cervix, describe systemically, site, anterior lip, posterior lip, whole cervix. Size, measure approximately, example 3 centimeter, 5 centimeter, or 6 centimeter. Type, ulcerative, exophytic, endophytic, polypoidal, fungating, papillary. Then surface, it is regular or irregular, granular, necrotic, or friable. Then describe margins, well defined, poorly defined, roll edges, everted. Then consistency, hard, soft, firm, bleed on touch, very important. Necrosis, present or absent, vaginal involvement, upper one third, lower one third, or entire vagina. Then describe extension, anterior fornix, posterior fornix, lateral fornix, cervix flushed with vagina suggests advanced disease. If lesions look like cervical polyp, describe site, size, pedicle, surface, bleeds on touch, friable, necrotic, healthy looking cervix. If cervix appear normal. Suggest pap smear, HPV testing if indicated. If discharge present, suggest high vaginal swab for culture and sensitivity and for STI testing. Do bimanual examination, assess cervix consistency, hard, irregular, fixed, tender, mobile, and restricted, fixed. Then assess uterus size, position, mobility, tenderness, parametrium, that is very important. Assess free, thickened, indurated, nodular, fixed, parametrial involvement suggests FIGO stage 2B. Then check adnexa, assess mass, tenderness, fullness, pelvic side walls, reachable, free, fixed, side wall involvement suggests stage 3B. Do rectovaginal examination, essential for staging. Assess rectal mucosa, it is free, fixed, nodular. Then assess rectovaginal septum. Assess parametria, assess pelvic side wall. If rectal mucosa involved, it is stage 4A. Examination under anesthesia indications, large lesion, painful examination, poor visualization that need biopsy, allow better staging, biopsy and colposcopy. Clinical staging during examination, stage 1 confined to cervix, 1B1 less than 2 cm, 1B2 2 to 4 cm, 1B3 4 cm, and stage 2 beyond cervix, not pelvic wall, not lower vagina. Stage 2A1 upper two-third vagina less than 4 cm, stage 2A2 upper two-third vagina that is 4 cm, 2B parametrium involved, stage 3 lower one-third vagina or pelvic wall or hydronephrosis, stage 3A lower third of vagina. Stage 3B pelvic wall hydronephrosis, 3C pelvic lymph node involvement, C1 pelvic node, C2 para-aortic node. Stage 4A bladder mucosa, rectal mucosa, and 4B distant metastasis to liver, lungs, bone, and supraclavicular nodes. During exam, if patient is not there and you have to perform examination, then ask from examiner. For general physical examination, ask BMI, pallor, cachexia, lymph nodes. Examiner will give you the answer. For abdominal examination, ask is there any hepatomegaly, ascites, and ask is there any pelvic mass, flank tenderness. Then ask about speculum examination, is there any cervical growth? If yes, then what is size, site, is that bleed on touch, necrotic, friable, vaginal extension or not. Asked by manual examination, cervical mobility, uterine mobility, parametrial involvement, pelvic side wall involvement, adnexal mass, rectovaginal, rectal mucosa free, bladder involvement, pelvic wall involvement. Ask from examiner all these questions. At the end of examination, how you will summarize the case. This patient has an ulceroproliferative fungating cervical growth measuring approximately in centimeter arising from the dash lip of the cervix. The lesion is friable, necrotic and bleeds on touch. There is no extension to vagina, parametrium, pelvic side wall or rectal mucosa. Based on my examination, the likely FIGO stage is dash. I would confirm the diagnosis with cervical biopsy and complete cervical staging with MRI, CT, PET-CT where indicated and examination under anesthesia if required. Investigations for carcinoma cervix, easy mnemonic, basic confirm stage fit. Basic tests are done to assess general health, anemia, infection, risk, renal status, and surgical and chemotherapy fitness, starting with the blood CP, HB, TLC, platelets, blood group and cross match, random blood sugar, HbA1c, urine, routine examination and midstream urine, RFTs, urea, creatinine, electrolytes, LFTs. Perform coagulation profile if heavy bleeding or surgery planned, viral screening, Hep C, HIV, pregnancy test, beta ECG in reproductive age women, ECG, preoperative, pre-anesthesia fitness, chest x-ray, baseline and lung metastasis screening, confirm diagnosis, pap smear if cervix looks healthy and no obvious growth, HPV DNA testing, high risk HPV screening, colposcopy if abnormal cytology, HPV positive or suspicious cervix, directed cervical biopsy, most important diagnostic test nowadays. Histopathology confirms squamous cell carcinoma, adenocarcinoma, and grade. Examination under anesthesia plus biopsy if lesion is large, painful, bleeding, or difficult to assess. Never rely on pap smear when obvious cervical growth is present. Take biopsy. Test for local disease and staging, MRI pelvis, MRI abdomen and pelvis. Best imaging for local staging, assess tumor size, cervical stromal invasion, vaginal extension, and parametrial invasion. Pelvic side wall involvement, bladder rectal involvement, pelvic lymph nodes, hydronephrosis, uterine adnexal involvement will be seen in MRI. Then we'll perform ultrasound abdomen pelvis as a baseline test. Looks for uterine involvement, endometrial thickness, tubo-ovarian pathology, pelvic mass, hydronephrosis, ascites, liver metastasis. Check renal involvement or ultrasound, pelvic para-aortic nodes if visible. MRI is preferred for staging. Ultrasound is not enough alone. Tests for metastasis are chest X-ray for lungs metastasis, CT chest, abdomen, pelvis, nodal or distant metastasis, PET-CT if available. Useful for nodal distal disease, LFTs, liver imaging, liver metastasis, RFTs, plus ultrasound and CT, hydronephrosis or renal compromise, bone scan, MRI spine only if bone pain, backache, or suspected bone metastasis. Test for complication IVU, CT urogram if hydronephrosis or ureteric involvement suspected, cystoscopy if bladder symptoms or suspected bladder invasion, proctoscopy, sigmoidoscopy if rectal symptoms or suspected rectal invasion, urine culture, UTI symptoms or pyuria. High vaginal swab, foul smelling, purulent discharge if for microscopy, culture and sensitivity. Bladder or rectal mucosal involvement means stage 4A tumor. Preoperative Pre-treatment workup includes CBC with platelets, blood group cross-match, RFT, LFT, coagulation profile, viral markers, blood sugar random, HbA1c, ECG, chest X-ray, anesthesia fitness, nutritional assessment, cardiology, medical review if comorbidities are there. Stage-wise investigations, suspected CIN, abnormal screening, pap smear, HRHPV testing, colposcopy, directed biopsy, LEDS, cone biopsy if indicated. Obvious cervical growth, do biopsy first, then MRI pelvis for staging, then metastatic workup as required. Advanced disease, MRI pelvis, CT chest, abdomen pelvis or PET-CT, RFT, cystoscopy, proctoscopy if bladder rectal symptoms. EUA if staging is unclear. At the end, say, I will first do baseline test including CBC, blood group, RBS, urine routine, renal and liver function test, coagulation profile, and viral markers. To confirm cervical cancer, I will take a cervical biopsy from the visible lesion and send it for histopathology. For staging, MRI is the investigation of choice. Ultrasound abdomen pelvis is useful as a baseline test to look for hydronephrosis, uterine and adnexal pathology, liver or renal involvement. For distant mets, I will do chest X-ray, CT chest, abdomen pelvis and PET-CT if available. If bladder rectal involvement is suspected, I will do cystoscopy, proctoscopy or sigmoidoscopy. Now, the most important part is management of cervical cancer is treatment. Based on current standard guidance, early disease is mainly surgical, fertility sparing where appropriate. Locally advanced disease is mainly concurrent chemoradiation with brachytherapy. Stage 4B recurrent disease needs systemic or palliative therapy. First step is counsel the patient, explain clearly probable diagnosis, suspected carcinoma of cervix, need for confirmation by cervical biopsy plus histopathology, need for staging MRI pelvis, abdomen, CT, PET-CT if required. Prognosis depends mainly on stage, nodal status, tumor size, histology, and response to treatment. Discuss fertility wishes, family completion, menopausal status. Refer to MDT, gynecological oncologist, radiation oncologist, medical oncologist, radiologist, pathologist, oncological nurse, counselor. If cervix looks normal but symptoms present, for example, postcoital bleeding with normal cervix, plan pap smear, liquid based cytology, HR, HPV, colposcopy, directed biopsy if abnormal area seen. Treat according to result. If CIN present, CIN1 observation or treatment depending on persistent or risk. CIN2 or 3, let's leave cold knife cone or ablative treatment if suitable. Follow up with cytology and HPV testing. If suspicious cervical growth present, do not rely on pap smear. Plan, counsel the patient, arrange examination under anesthesia plus cervical punch biopsy, send biopsy for histopathology, MRI pelvis for local staging, CT chest, abdomen pelvis or PET-CT if advanced disease suspected, cystoscopy if bladder symptoms or MRI suspicion, proctoscopy, sigmoidoscopy if bowel symptoms or rectal involvement suspected. Preparation for examination under anesthesia and cervical biopsy. Explain purpose, staging and biopsy. Risk bleeding, infection, anesthesia risk, injury to adjacent organ. Written informed consent, anesthesia fitness, optimize comorbidities, diabetes, hypertension, anemia. Arrange blood if heavy bleeding, friable tumor. Baseline labs, CBC, blood group, RFTs, LFTs, coagulation, viral markers, ECG. Now, steps during examination under anesthesia. Per speculum examination, assess tumor size, site, anterior lip, posterior lip, whole cervix, type, ulcerative, fungating, polypoidal, necrotic, friable, bleeds on touch, vaginal extension. Bimanual examination assess uterine size, position, mobility, cervical mobility, parametrial involvement, adnexal fullness, tenderness, pelvic side wall involvement. Rectovaginal examination assess rectovaginal septum, parametria, rectal mucosal involvement. Then procedures: punch biopsy from growth, endocervical curettage if indicated, endometrial sampling if abnormal, uterine bleeding or endometrial pathology suspected, cystoscopy, proctoscopy if indicated. Stage wise management. Stage 1A1 family not complete. Cone biopsy LEDs with clear margins. If lymphovascular space invasion negative, follow up acceptable. If lymphovascular space invasion positive, cone biopsy plus pelvic lymph node assessment may be needed. Family complete simple hysterectomy. If lymphovascular space invasion positive, consider modified radical hysterectomy plus pelvic lymph node assessment. Stage 1A2 family not complete, radical trachelectomy plus pelvic lymphadenectomy or cone biopsy plus pelvic lymphadenectomy in selected cases. Family complete, modified radical hysterectomy plus pelvic lymphadenectomy. Stage 1B1 tumor less than or equal to 2 cm, family not complete, radical trachelectomy plus pelvic lymphadenectomy if suitable, family complete, radical hysterectomy plus pelvic lymphadenectomy. Stage 1B2 tumor more than 2 cm to less than or equal to 4 cm options, radical hysterectomy plus pelvic lymphadenectomy or concurrent chemoradiation in selected cases. Fertility sparing treatment is possible only in highly selected patients, but oncological risk is higher. Stage 1B3 tumor more than 4 cm but confined to cervix. Preferred concurrent chemoradiation plus brachytherapy. Alternative in selected centers radical hysterectomy plus pelvic lymphadenectomy followed by adjuvant therapy if risk factor present. Stage 2A1 upper two-third vaginal involvement tumor less than or equal to 4 cm. Options are radical hysterectomy plus pelvic lymphadenectomy or concurrent chemoradiation plus brachytherapy. Stage 2A2 upper two-third vaginal involvement tumor more than 4 cm. Preferred concurrent chemoradiation plus brachytherapy. Stage 2B parametrial involvement preferred concurrent chemoradiation plus brachytherapy. Surgery is usually not primary treatment. Stage 3 includes lower one-third vagina pelvic wall involvement, hydronephrosis or nodal disease. Preferred external beam radiotherapy, weekly cisplatin chemotherapy if renal functions allows, intracavitary interstitial brachytherapy. Stage 4A bladder or rectal mucosal involvement preferred. Concurrent chemoradiation plus brachytherapy. Palliative care if poor performance status. Stage 4B distant meds management palliative systemic therapy. Chemotherapy plus minus bevacizumab immunotherapy such as pembrolizumab in selected biomarker positive recurrent metastatic cases, palliative radiotherapy for bleeding, pain, or obstruction. Adjuvant treatment after surgery needed if high risk features like positive lymph nodes, positive margins, parametrial involvement, treatment, concurrent chemoradiation, intermediate risk features, large tumor, deep stromal invasion, lymphovascular space invasion, treatment, adjuvant pelvic radiotherapy, plus minus chemotherapy, depending on MDT decision. Now, the most important part is follow up. Every 3 to 4 months for first 2 to 3 years, every 6 months until 5 years, then annually. And at each visit, history, pelvic examination, speculum examination, rectovaginal examination if indicated, assess recurrence, assess urinary, bowel, sexual, psychological complications. Routine imaging is not required unless symptoms or high risk findings are present. Prevention of cervical cancer. Primary prevention. HPV vaccination before sexual activity, safe sexual practices, smoking cessation. HPV type 16 and 18 causes most cervical cancers. Vaccination is preventive, not treatment for established cancer. Secondary prevention is by cervical screening, pap smear, liquid-based cytology, HIV, high risk HR-HPV testing, VIA in low resource setting, colposcopy if screening is abnormal. How you will present in front of examiner. After confirming carcinoma cervix on biopsy, I will stage the patient clinically and radiologically, preferably with MRI pelvis. Management depends on stage, fertility wishes, and fitness. Early stage disease is treated mainly by conization, trachelectomy, or radical hysterectomy with pelvic lymph node assessment. Locally advanced disease from 2B to 4A is treated by concurrent chemoradiation with brachytherapy. Stage 4B disease is managed with systemic therapy, palliative radiotherapy, and supportive care. All cases should be discussed in MDT and followed closely for recurrence and treatment related complications.